Hello, how are we?
Hello, how are we?
This is the Syndicate. I heard back from Zach. Let me see this. Yeah. What is it? Is it 7:56? No? Over there? It sounds like it. Anyways.
So how's that going?
Um well, Zach texted me. And he said, "All right, it's working. Nora just got a contract to clean an entire apartment complex."
Nice.
So that little experiment is working, or has worked. We have achieved this. I'm not sure if it's 72 hours. Maybe it's 96 or 124. No, it wouldn't be 124. Whatever it is, I can't do the math.
Morning.
KC,
Hey,
What's up, guys? How you doing?
what's going on? How you feeling?
Like shit.
Yeah, you sound like Peter.
hey.
Did Peter infect you through Twitter Spaces?
I blame Peter.
Blame your community.
Well, technically, it's not Peter's fault because he didn't know that he could still transmit the virus.
Infected through Twitter Spaces. Goddamn.
So did Karen catch it before you, or did you catch it before Karen? Is my question.
It was the kids. Karen's. She got it a little bit before I did, but she rebounded real fast. It was actually,
Ah,
yeah, it was Maggie and then Hunter, Karen and me. Yep. But now I got the sick voice, so I can do this. Oh yeah. Do you guys want to see how low it goes? It's like the Peter Griffin episode where he gets sick.
You should you should record a commercial with that voice.
Are you tired of the blockchains taking you places you don't want to go? Maybe you need to come out to a more family friendly blockchain. Welcome to Syndicate IO. We take care of our own.
oh God. I just imagine that's what KC is going to sound like when he's like 70. Just permanent voice.
Told you guys not to invest in those ZFTs. I was here from N and O and P and Q. You think it's going to be any different with ZNFT? Oh, take your chances.
Buenos días, todo el mundo. It is 7. It's just before 7 o'clock. I mean, just before 8. Um, eh,
You went from like Spanish to Croatian there. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh shit! So Mel, like, technically, congratulations are in order for you because you did the commercial. Now I don't know if they saw the commercial before they paid the money, but maybe they
uh,
did. I'd like to find out. Right? Like, why'd you sign up for Nora? Oh man, I saw the commercial and I want to go on a date with the voiceover actress.
I want to go on a date with somebody, but I don't know if he likes me.
Maybe he doesn't know either.
I don't know, but it's been interesting. I mean,
You should send him the commercials.
it's interesting. It's all in my head, apparently.
Can you imagine?
Huh?
No, I'd be interested to see if the Clean by Nora commercial could get you a date.
Oh,
You know?
okay, so I actually sent it to to someone. Okay, what I just said that I like somebody is it's a space somebody. It's like the first time I actually like someone. But out here in the real world, I have shared it. I shared it with a couple of people, and they're like, everyone's like, "Wow, really? That's awesome." It
They sound like
is.
your friends sound like they're from California.
Yeah, they are. Well, no, actually, he's
Yeah.
from Virginia.
No, you can do the voice good. I just never heard you do that voice.
Oh yeah. I, I need to really start. Okay, I need to schedule my thing with my last thing and
Yeah.
because I want to hear myself again, like the practice. I think we should just do a class among us. I think we should do that. Just maybe we can write a little agenda for like
Mm. Well,
let's
it's
do a practice run with each other. Do this or do I think I'm
yeah,
gonna
we
propose.
could.
Yeah.
I have to get you, Manish, and Peter scheduled in.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
how you feeling, by the way?
I'm still like phlegmy and shit, you know? But like I'm not sick anymore, if that makes sense. But I've still got like
I,
a lot of
I don't.
phlegminess.
I don't hear the phlegm.
Yeah.
Oh no, like I'll wake up some mornings and I'm just coughing like phlegm for like the whole time I'm getting up, and I've got it in my sinus. But it could just be the change of weather as well. Just like I do get like this around this time of year sometimes, so it's just kind of oh, the smell has finally gone as well, it seems. I had this fucking lingering smell from like COVID, and it seems like it was like smell and taste, and everything was muted. But now, like, I just noticed that like I haven't really been getting it at all today, so I'm pretty happy about that. So yeah, almost back to normal.
I can hear it a little. Not the phlegm, just like a little congestion. But you sound good. Your spirit, your energy is up. I think it transferred. I'm telling you, man, the syndicate, like we got the bug and it's been running around. It's like for about a month, people have been sick. No?
What's the congrats
Yeah,
for?
I can hear it in you.
Oh,
Hey, Liz.
uh, the congrats is for Zach and cleanbynora.com. I'm not sure if you remember a few days ago, Zach said he wanted to help someone start a cleaning business. And Zach, we created the commercial with Mel. And Zach texted me and he said, "All right, it's working. Nora just got a contract to clean an entire apartment complex. So instead of getting one house, it seems like she got at least 10 to, I don't know, 40, depending on what type of apartment it is. It's El Paso. So apartment might mean 8 to 15. But, if the goal was to make sales within 72 hours and book her calendar, it looks like it's happened,
Awesome.
which is nice. It's weird. But you know what? Like, the thing is, like, because Zach is going to take action, it's like, all right, Zach, if you're in charge of sales, let's figure out this other shit. Because I don't think you're going to not sell.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, damn. Zach is like, and it's funny because he comes in and he's like, okay, I got this idea. Let's da 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 da.
He's been doing that to me for like 100 days. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many ideas that I've had. It's like, see, I want to do, and I wish there was a way. I can't believe there doesn't exist.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's cool.
But this one actually had a heart behind the story because
Yes.
the women are from Juarez. They're coming over, and right. and then the compensation arrangement got switched by the company. Like, that's a good story. That's worth doing.
For sure.
Even if you fail, it's worth doing.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's like everything is worth doing, even with fail, no? And then there's the ones that are like the ones that stick, things that stick around. You're like, oh, okay, that
Well,
was a good.
my buddy said that. I remember telling him that, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this. And he says, you can do anything you want to do, and that's a problem. That's a feature as well as a bug, because if you choose the wrong thing to do, you will successfully execute failure. So it's
Dude,
not whether you can be success, but if you should be successful at it in the first place, as opposed to everything else you could do.
that's interesting. That's really just like,
Yeah, he was a sales guy. So he
yeah,
was like, look, I know I can sell, but the challenge is, which company do I decide to sell for?
right.
That's great.
Salespeople are the ones that make super, super bank, no? Like they really make bank all the time.
You
Sales
know,
seems to be like recession proof. I don't know.
well,
What are you selling? Sell
it's
dildos. That's recession proof.
I had a sales demo with Ahmed yesterday for his product Safe.ai. I know a guy in the disaster recovery and storage and backup business here in Toronto, like software. And I said, hey, funny enough, I DM the guy on Instagram because that's the way I see him post the most. So I'm like, hey, I have a solution that will, decrease your recovery point objective down to 5 seconds and your recovery time objective down to 30 minutes. I'd like to introduce you. You never know. And he says, yeah, book it in my Calendly. We have the Calendly yesterday. And what's funny is, like, once the Calendly started, I took once the meeting started, I took off my video and I walked away from the computer. And then I
What?
came back at the end.
What do you mean? Because it was
So,
with
like,
multiple people?
yeah, so
Oh,
Ahmed was
like,
presenting.
yeah.
Yeah, Ahmed was presenting to the customers. And I was like, okay, they're talking now? Okay, good. Well, I'm just going to go walk away. Let's see what Ali's doing. And then I come back like 15 minutes later, and they're all like, first of all, they're still talking, which is a win, right? If they're talking past 15 minutes, and then they agreed to like put it up the food chain. So yeah, if more people wanted to do sales, I could probably show them how to do it. Because I'm doing it right now
Yeah,
for some
isn't it just
members of the
letting the
syndicate.
other person talk more than you?
Yeah. More than
If
that.
you can get the first meeting,
Yeah.
right?
Get that meeting.
Right? So hold on, what did I actually send him? I sent him, friend of mine has a data solution that reduces mean time to recovery if y'all are ever partnering or acquiring companies in this space. And he said, let's talk when I'm back in the city. And I said, Ayye. Winfrey would like to chat about the above. Safe.ai can bring the recovery time objective down to 30 minutes and recovery point objective down to 5 seconds, given 10 terabytes. He just sent me back his calendar. And that was that. Joined the meeting, said hi to everyone, blah, blah, blah. They don't need me. I can provide more value by staying on mute. So I took the camera off, went for a walk, came back, and they said they would, advance to the next stage. And then Ahmed calls me back. He's like, point of feedback. I think you should listen just a little more closely because I think you missed a question from one of the people on the call. I'm like, man, I probably wasn't even at my desk.
Uh-oh.
Right? But it's hooking people up. And to E's point, it was my time to shut up.
Yeah.
What the fuck do I know about Linux? You know?
Right.
I could only hurt the process by talking. This is the CEO. You guys are the technical person and the salesperson. Let me not get in the way.
Yeah.
I just learned about a recovery time objective yesterday. And
Recovery
this is
time objective. What did you learn yesterday?
so the idea is that because you are going to be a victim or a target of ransomware, right? And hackers, that we know that you're going to go down. We know you're going to have data deleted. We know people are going to fuck with your systems. So it's not whether they're going to fuck with your system, it's how quickly can you recover the ability to process transactions. You know, when I used to do work with like the banks for their technology, they would say every minute that an automatic teller machine is down, we lose $50,000.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, or
Yeah.
every time our network is down, we lose $1 million a minute, right?
Yeah.
Because if our ATMs aren't working, that means we're not taking in money. And across Canada, that means it's $1 million a minute. So if you could say to Mr. or Mrs. Client, because you know you're going to get breached, you just need the ability to recover as soon as humanly possible. What if we could provide a solution that would allow you to get back online immediately? So the other part about this too is like, I'm not selling an end customer. I'm selling a company that sells backup and disaster recovery services to other companies, to the end client. So we're talking about like a channel sales partner, they would call it, where we're selling to the people who will want to sell it to end customers. So the people around us have useful stuff. We just have to figure out how to sell it. It's not easy. I think it's possible.
Hey, speaking of, I'm finally finishing my PC build, and like
Nice.
I wanted to get it done tonight, but it was a pain in the ass over screws. You know how it goes. Um, but yeah, I got that 4090. Hey, I fucking made a
Oh
terrible financial
shit!
decision.
Wow, a 4090. It's a Lamborghini of GPUs at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially.
Wow. So,
It,
have you seen what we've done with KC and Ali's art?
no, I've been a bit out of the space. Between like
It's okay. So, I'm
COVID
not
shit
sure
hitting me and blah blah blah.
if Casey, if you're there, if you can send Pete the spatial. So, what Ali's doing is turning all of her pieces into a book. So, I'm watching her do it right now.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And I bought a $10 model from Spatial, and we blew it up almost 40 times. So now it's a complete walkable world with walls.
I do recall that part. I think I was in one of the spaces where you talked about that, but I haven't seen it. I've seen
Here's the crazy part. So when I downloaded the 3D aquarium city, apparently included all of the animals in the city that move as well. So I didn't just get one file, I got like 18 to 20. So
yeah,
now
right.
Casey can place all these moving things around.
Well, actually, all those moving things are coming from my PC.
Oh shit. See?
Yeah.
See, this is why Casey's worth 10%.
And Peter, I sent you the link if you want it. I'm
We'll check it out.
still early on in the build.
The idea is that you start in one place, and you can either free roam walk the environment, or you can go in order, and Ali's voice will tell you a story.
And because spatial does distance audio, where the further away you are, the softer it gets, you can have one audio space out the artwork for the next audio to not interfere, and you have a walking storyline.
What are you making now, Ali?
I've been really enjoying incorporating our friends' art into my art.
Okay.
So lately, Dan's had this
Yeah.
line of the lemon fish story. So So the latest one I did was, well, I just posted it.
Let me take a look.
Holy shit, this space is big, dude.
Dude, it's one of the biggest I've made yet.
Yo, turn it into a Mario World N64 thing. I'm telling you.
The only thing that's potentially bigger is the hellhole that I made for the last stage of the Halloween stuff, but this might be bigger.
Whoa.
It might
Yo,
be bigger.
Check out the tweet at the top. It's crazy what you did to Dan's vault. You turned it into an octopus? That's crazy.
Dude, this might actually be the biggest space in spatial right now.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's it's huge.
What the fuck, man?
But here's the thing. I want to take it to Roblox, dude. Roblox is where the audience is. And if we have the FBX file,
Right.
I want to play around.
Roblox. Wait, so you guys, where are you guys now? Are you somewhere?
Yeah, Casey, send it to Mel.
Coming at you. Hold on.
And anyone who wants to see it.
Oh, Hurls is in the room. Send him a mic.
Hello. Hey.
G'day, mate. Hold up.
Boobity.
Rich, are you in?
What the fuck you doing?
Are you exploring that?
You can send it to, anyone, really, that we know.
I missed you, girls.
This is my prayer.
Just sent it to you.
Oh, you are in spatial. Okay. Let me get my computer.
I forgot Girls has to do is actually he did his prep recording. It's just his actual recording.
Dude, I'm still just fucking blown away by how big this fucking spatial world is at the moment.
Right. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I took it to the maximum that the visuals would allow. Like the map is actually just a tick bigger, but there's a limit on how far you can see.
What's this piranha plant in the corner over here?
Oh yeah, the snapdragons in the corners. I needed something big to mark the corners with. So I threw those snapdragons in there. They're at about 1,000 to 2,000 times their normal size.
Man, I can't wait to try this in VR when I finish my build.
Oh, dude, I hear that the VR is just sick with this. It's supposed to be like a whole new experience.
I've tried it on my Quest, but I haven't tried it through because I'm sure there'd be a way to run it through my PC to my Quest.
Well, like I have a controller, right? So if I could, if I connect my controller to my phone, then I should be able to use my controller with the headset on my head.
Also, Trav messaged me saying, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but he can only listen in at the moment.
Fuck that guy. I'm unfollowing. Gonna be here and not talk. Fuck you. Hi, Harold's. Hello. How are we? Oh no! Did he actually leave? Oh no!
Yeah, I think you pissed him
All
off.
your fault.
What, for real? No, come on.
Yeah, he just sent me a message saying he hates you. No, I'm kidding.
Check the pinned tweet. There's just like a big diatribe about "fuck you, Casey." That'd be pretty awesome.
I'm excited. I'm meant to be going away this weekend, but I'm really tempted to just not. And just like, I don't know.
Where are you supposed to be going away to?
My mate's having a birthday party, well, not party, but like a birthday thing,
Bash,
whatever, like
yeah.
weekend away. Yeah.
Cool.
And we're like, it's like a couple hours north of the city. Bit of a drive, like a beach
Is
house
there going to
thing.
be pie though? Like if there's meat pie, that could be worth it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is there
sure there would be.
food? Okay, I'm on my way. There's food. I'm there.
No, it's
That's
meat
awesome.
pie.
I mean, are we like this PG-13 meat pie?
Yeah, it's
That's what we're talking
Australian.
about. Okay.
It's the Australian spin-off of American Pie.
Uh,
I've never seen that movie. I really need to catch up on
what?
films.
How is that even
That's an
possible?
institution.
I don't know.
Dan looked up from the typewriter.
Yo, what's going on?
What?
Was it Daniel-san?
Howdy.
Nada. I've been looking for a syndicate space for a while. These things are rare these days.
We So just to catch you up, Dan. Remember how Zach had that cleaning company that he was helping out, and Mel did the commercial?
Yep. They were a drug cartel. What happened?
Yes, that's what right is. And so
Nice.
can't read it for some reason.
Wait a minute. Wait. What happened? So they were a legit company or not legit or what?
So Zach texts me, all right, it's working. Nora just got a contract to clean an entire apartment complex.
Nice.
Yeah, it's Dan.
Hi, Dan. I've been having so much fun.
Look at the top, Dan.
Yes, the lemon fish adventures have been great.
It's a fun bantering back and forth. It's giving me so many new ideas to play with.
Look at the image
Thank
at the
you.
top.
Well, I figured that there's like alternate reality where there's other lemon fishes, so I just keep kind of creating those alternate universes. I love it. It's fun.
Well, I like it. I'm having so much fun. Thank you.
Yo, your vault is now an octopus vault.
Wow. So you're gonna have to find some way to to pay back the video production for that piece or something. You know what I mean? Like take it out of the first contract or something. So yeah, get some evergreen back into what you guys are doing. Get paid for it.
Yeah, I think the next step now is, now that we've made the first sale, now we can look at, okay, so what is, and it's the same conversation I had actually with Jeff and another customer, which is, now that you know what it takes to sell, would you engage with someone to manage the sales and the marketing? Because we've already proven that it can be done, right? And I know Zach is thinking in that same way, because, you know, Zach's ultimate goal is to provide careers for military spouses, right?
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
right? So if we can create, you know what I mean? It's like, because this is sales and marketing, you don't need a PhD in data science to understand people. You just need interaction with people time to understand people.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got a built-in franchise model, like ready to spin off.
Yes, exactly. Right? And because I know Zach's, you know, leading it, I know, you know, he'll make sure that things happen. Because if we can take the work we did in 12 hours and with sales on your end and the content and the, I mean, he did the website, I did the type form.
Right.
He right? So, okay, now we have a model, which is a website is 80% a type form. If you know what you're doing and you're talking directly to your niche. Like I was telling them, like with Ahmed, with his, you know, data time objective company, you know, the data recovery.
Yeah.
I did a demo with him with a customer yesterday, and it went great. Right? I didn't even have to say anything. Right? Even with Web3, you know, I introduced him to a friend of
Yeah.
mine, and it looks like it's going well there too. So
That's good, man.
yeah, I don't know.
That's good.
I don't know if it's the market. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is, but things are happening.
That's good, man. Syndicate.
Me, I just wanted the experiment. Can we go from zero to revenue in 72 hours with someone we don't know?
Love that.
All right. I'm putting in a miniature of the fishbowl as a map so that you can see where you're going.
Oh shit, Dan, did we tell you about the spatial with Ali's art? Casey, can you send it to Dan?
Mm-mm. Yeah, send it to me.
So we got a model from Sketchfab for $10, right? It's an underwater aquarium city.
Nice.
And it came with 30 fish and other sea
Awesome.
creatures.
No,
So,
those are mine.
oh shit, I forgot. So Casey, so I said, hey Casey, you want 10% to do all the stuff that we don't want to do? And he says, yeah. He says, sure. And that was that.
Nice.
Just send it to you. It's gotta be. It's definitely it. I set it at the very maximum of the visual range, and I think it's like bumping up against the edges of the map size. It's big.
Yeah, you turned it into Super Mario World.
Nice.
So, you guys ever heard of the CryptoLex NFTs? Luxury watches and wearables, et cetera, for your avatars.
Dude, I just want to say this out loud. So I know a guy that does industrial and commercial digital twins, right? Making a photorealistic, actual like engines and shit. So I'm just waiting to hear back on one, how much it would cost to turn these flat images of octopi into 3D FBX files that can move. But I'm also thinking, what if we gave someone who knows how to do this stuff and told them, hey, can you retexture this environment to make it look realistic?
You need to hop on Spatial and go to RVT and talk with that guy. He's Taiwanese.
Well, you understand where I'm going, right? So we
Yeah,
have this underwater world, but the polygons still look like fucking Star Fox,
right.
right? If we could retexture the environment to have algae and coral on it,
So go into Spatial, look up RVT, Robert Victor Tango, and go
hmm
in and make friends with RVT and ask him if he'd bake the environment for you.
is he on the Twitter?
Yes. Yes, he's also on the Twitters. He primary focus right now is building chairs, is what he does. Um,
Can you send me his Twitter? I'm
sure.
trying to look him up.
Good to go.
All right. You sent it to me somewhere, I guess. Hold on. There we
Just on
go.
your Twitter.
Okay. So, bang, link tree. If his link tree has a Calendly, then I'm booking it. Mm.
Hey Peter, flipping off your computer doesn't actually speed it up at all. It makes you feel
Of
better,
course it
but
does.
doesn't. I mean, if you're talking about like stress relief and then you're more efficient with your build, yeah. But that's a pretty funny picture. Oh, and RVT's been also doing the weightless rooms as well, where you can kind of float around. He's got a lot of cool stuff. He also does a lot of elevator work too. So he's
Mm.
good. Yeah, he's a good guy to know.
I'm on his page. I can't DM him. What I can do is uh, share via tweet, talking about RVT's pioneering work in at spatial IO. Okay. So, Casey, why did you think about RVT when I mentioned the textures?
Because I talked to him for a while on Spatial about the process of how he has to create the chairs and then bake all the texturing in. And
How did you discover them?
going through Spatial and just looking for whoever was live to just see who was actually in Spatial, because I was cruising around Spatial spaces and like they were cool, but like nobody was in them.
Right.
So I just started only looking for people that were live. Ran into RVT, chatting with him for a couple weeks, and he's a nice guy. Like he's just building his chairs, building his chairs, doing elevators, and having fun. And he's got a project, but
He's like
you
a
know,
meta carpenter.
he's kind of like a meta carpenter. That's a good analogy. But his ability to talk through the baking process for texturing was clean. Like real. I've heard other people try to describe the baking process before, and it's junk.
But I imagine a lot of this is happening in Blender, right?
Yeah, he uses a combination of Blender. He uses something different. He does use Blender, yes, but he also uses something else. I don't remember what.
Casey, when do you have time to write mortgages?
Well, right now ain't nobody applying, so it's
Oh.
pretty easy. Yeah.
I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't mean that in a rude
No,
way.
no. I hear like doctors and attorneys and shit on Spaces, and they're on for like 8 hours. And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm an
aren't
attorney.
people dying and going to prison around you? Like, why are you, like, why are you
There,
on Spaces so much? But
I am on Spaces more than I should be. I think I tried to take a break from it when I was sick. It didn't work.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a bad thing, but whatever.
But I met you great people.
That's so true. I've met all these great people here. So lovely.
They're
Oh,
just
God,
so
my
nice.
God.
Yes, they are.
They are so,
I don't know.
there's some people here from Arkansas, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
Sounds like a
All
losing
right, all
trade
right, all
to me,
right.
to be honest with you.
The last time I saw KC, he was really high. He was in spatial trying to break dance.
Sounds like he's been doing gravel this morning, drinking too much gravel.
He does sound that way though.
Are you tired of the other Twitter Spaces? They're just not treating you with the intellectual stimulation you're looking for. Come on over to the
Doom.
Syndicate.
Doom.
Doom. Doom.
I want to clip that so we can make it a dance mix.
Doom. 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 Like that.
You can do Barry White now.
Can't get enough of your love, baby. My wife doesn't think the deep voice is very funny. She doesn't like me being sick. There's no humor to be had.
Are you in that limbo where you've made the kids well, but now you're sick?
Yes, that's exactly where I'm at.
So they have all the
Spot
energy.
on. Yes.
They're fucked.
Yeah, they're ready to.
You told me about this state before.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. You just want to pass the fuck out and let your body heal. And they're like, I'm going to jump on your face. Let's wrestle. Ah! So, yeah.
Wait, who's jumping on faces?
Maggie and Hunter, my kids, they just like to wrestle. Jesus Christ, woman, get laid, would you?
No, I can't. Not yet. I'm waiting.
KC can't because he can't breathe. He would die.
So I just
That was fucking horrible, dude.
yeah, I just put the this thing up at the top. Can you guys see this? The people are so frustrated that they're like, the cops are right there. They're like, well, I'm gonna do something about it. Uh,
Web3, I recorded the first tutorial for Python.
oh,
Good.
really? When? How?
Yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I talked to a few people. The thing is, like, now we're creating new curriculum for colleges and schools.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, so if we can do the cabling and we can do the steel pan and math and what have you, why not teach Python?
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm doing. So If I can figure it out, I can probably explain it. So let me try this Python course. Let me export it now, and I'll post it to the top.
I guess I should open my computer.
Let's see here.
Yesterday,
Damn.
I was talking yesterday to the guy that's doing the getting Cam to do the rendering,
Oh yeah.
and I told him about the conflict resolution league white paper that I was working on, and he said, "Oh, when you get done with that, I want to see it." He sounded like that could be something, and I say, "Well, so as a service, software as a service, that's the only way to promote it." So.
Mhm. You mind telling them about Cam? Because that was the guy I was thinking along with our VT.
Yeah, he's a real nice fellow. So far, the stuff that I've sent to him, and put a drawing together, and then some clear verbiage on descriptions, and then some previous examples that were done on the equipment. I don't know, several years ago. I think in 2019, I think it was. And pretty much, he was really thrilled about the amount of detail that I provided, and then came up with a number, and then the client said, "Okay, the number's good. Let's move forward." And now I'm bouncing in between the two, getting questions answered and moving it forward.
Nice. Was it if you don't mind me asking, are we talking structures, characters?
No, what it is it's he developed a system for kind of like it's like a home unit with solar capability that it's kind of like standalone, and how you get a lot of he's making stuff to integrate in the house that looks like a piece of stereo equipment, that kind of thing, and it's part of the charging and um, battery capability, and
So it's a power relay system, right?
yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, and it's pretty interesting what he's done. He's done some mock-ups. He did the conceptual on his own house, and then he did a couple of installations to formulate it. And now he's talking to guys out of DC and New York for manufacturing funding, so he can start scaling it up. And he's also sourcing um, extruded plastic manufacturers, and premium would be aluminum machining and that kind of thing. So he's kind of going premium and lower end, that kind of. So it's real interesting.
So he's going digital to real world. Right. This
Yeah,
isn't
yeah. This is, and what he's doing is using this as a presentation and parts of his presentation and stuff.
Wait a minute. He's creating a 3D digital model for a presentation.
Yeah,
Motherfucking, that's awesome.
yeah, and it's like a room showing the equipment in a room that's realistic looking and that kind of thing. Because he tried photography and tried video, and it just didn't come across. So he decided to go back into the digital world because he's kind of
Makes
involved.
sense.
Yeah, he's kind of involved with it, and he knows how to use some of the software, but he just doesn't have time because he's doing all the other things. He can't create it himself, and he's on a timetable. So he reached out and said, "Hey, I'm gonna delegate this to you. How much?" and move forward. So just like Mike does, delegates to me, and I've got two other between the league white paper and still trying to get to the point where I get back to capturing the spaces. That's the last little piece on that one, and if I can get that to work, then we'll have fun in another area. So
Well, I know that the way you're building it is for scale, right? And so you're exploring the parameters of, you know, what we can do. What, you know, and so when we were talking, and again, when I was talking to the teachers at the school board, I was like, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. And I also understand that grade sixes are now operating at a grade 3 level because it turns out that their grade did not increase every year that we had COVID.
Turns out they need other kids to mature.
Yeah, it turns out that we didn't realize how
Socializing.
social education and we didn't realize how critical the social piece was to learning.
And stress.
What do you mean stress?
Well, the study that came out recently that said that the element of being stressed out in the classroom is what imprints learning into our brains. So if you don't have that added level of stress, you're not going to remember shit.
Right.
So wait, you mean that when I was like in elementary school, my teacher used to yell at me in front of the class for not knowing my multiplication tables? That was bad.
No, that
She
was
was
good.
she
That
was
was
a
good.
great teacher. She was an award-winning
Yeah,
teacher.
you can't give out a loan unless you can do multiplication with interest rates.
You need that added level of stress to imprint it, which
Yeah.
is wild.
Yeah.
I quit.
Basically, it's
Don't give up.
trauma-based learning. Trauma-based learning works.
Oh, that is a painful phrase right
That-
there.
that's the
Trauma-based learn.
whole.
Fuck Jesus,
That's the
Dad.
Guyanese school system. My parents were teachers. They hit kids that they didn't even know.
Now,
Oh my God,
think,
that's my favorite. When I have like a West Indian parent will come in and be like, just beat my child. I'm like, thank you for the permission. I cannot,
Yeah.
but thank you.
yeah. Now, think about the most dramatic things that have happened to you. You can give more vivid detail about what was around you, how it happened, and it stays with you for eons. So
Yeah, but like in a bad way.
no, it's actually it's just a
I mean, but like
memory.
the scouts, for
The
example. That's,
I mean, wrecking the car and flipping it 9 times and counting it each time you flipped it, you know, would seem to be traumatic, but you survived it. It was just a harsh experience, you know.
So trauma is survival skills for real life. Is that what we're saying?
That's part of it. Yeah, you
Well,
get
part
it
of it, but then we're not taught how
Dark,
to walk
man.
through the feelings. Like I was listening to this Bill Burr podcast about how when he has like a quiet moment, all the the dark thoughts come in and he just like pushes them away. But like if you it's not healthy. If you actually we don't teach kids to sit down, allow yourself to go through the feelings because your body's holding the anxiety until you're ready to walk through the feelings. But if you always push them back, you're never going to process them properly and grow from that experience. Because you have to be able to visit that memory without being like traumatized by it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have repressed all of my trauma and I'm doing fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Fantastic.
I'm fucking fine. I'm doing fucking great.
Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know shit.
No, totally. Good morning, guys. I'm also
Jim?
from the school of the what was it? The trauma learning
education.
center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of U of P, it's T of U, Trauma
Yeah, exactly.
University.
And then also me and Casey talk about this. We are definitely from the R&R generation, the recognize, repress tactic of survival, and
Hey, fuck you.
and
It gets
also,
it
and I really
works.
want to
God
say
damn it.
something real quick about the whole the whole losing 2 years of education. Have you met your friends? Have you met your non-friends, the people you work with? Like, none of them are teachers. There's no way. You know what I mean? Like there's no way like kids were ever going to be expected to keep up if your parents are teaching you. I'm sorry, like
Yeah.
because there's no way. Homeschooling only works if it's like certain things.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
got homeschool. Like I had a curriculum given to me by school, and then I had another curriculum given to me by my Guyanese teacher parents. And my homework was more important than my school homework. The school
Yeah.
homework was an assumption. The homework was like reading a pocket version of the fucking Odyssey when I'm 8. Why? Because it is expected of you. There's no choice in the matter.
Right. Right, but I mean, yeah, exactly. So when education was handed over to, and then I'm only going to say American parents because that's the only parents I
It's
can
an
talk about.
abdication.
Are you kidding me? Do you know what Americans, usually American parents do, like to keep their kids off their back? They just hand them a fucking iPad. They've been handing them like their phones and their iPads to like, oh, don't bother me, like go do something else.
iPad driven
And then all of
development.
a sudden
No.
you think they're gonna step up to educate their children properly?
Well,
They're not even educated.
but the thing is, like,
Everyone in America is undereducated. It
it's
is literally a fucking, like when COVID happened and I got that call for my kid not ever going to school again, I was like, we are all fucked. Like this is the domino that's really gonna fucking kick American, the American
so.
kids, American education right off the fucking map. You know
So
what I
this
mean?
is
And
what
it happened.
happened in the past 2 weeks. The Ontario Education Minister said that, look, we've come to find out that grade sixes are performing at a grade 3 level. We're going to give every parent in Ontario $250 to, I don't know, do something with the money that helps your kids learn. That's what they announced. So they're starting to see it in the actual data from kids taking standardized tests that they haven't learned anything in the past 3 years.
No, zero, zero, and this is terrifying to me because there are, especially at certain ages. I mean, your building blocks for the rest of your life is
Yeah.
fucking
If you
gone,
don't know your times
gone.
table by grade 7, I
And
don't
you
know.
don't know this until you're 40 or 35, and you're like, what fucking happened to my life?
You know, you
Oh,
guys are forgetting something else that's kind of the big elephant in the room, which is AI. So AI is already going to replace probably 70% of the kids' tasking. I mean, the AI is already writing kids' papers in college. So your kids will probably be 3 years old and be able to leverage AI and
Dude,
basically
if
cheat
I
everything.
had AI when I was going to U of T, I would have been able to have 2 full-time jobs while going to U of T.
Peter.
Yo,
Please,
all right.
Peter.
So, you guys know about what ADHD is, right? Like the concept that it's basically delayed development, like
What
physically delayed
what is
development.
it? The
Wait,
concept
wait,
what?
wait. You're saying ADHD is linked to a lack of physical development?
Repeat, please.
So there's this idea, and like it's backed by studies, that ADHD is basically the equivalent of delayed development in terms of the prefrontal cortex and that kind of thing.
It's funny because when I look back at my old report cards, it said Mike does his work quickly, but then he starts to bother everyone around him.
That's a pretty good pattern. I'd agree with that. I mean, I don't think that's true at all.
No, I think it's exactly true. And when I look back at my life, I'm like, wow, I'm still operating like I'm in kindergarten.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting when you're saying that sixth graders are operating at like a third grade level, right? And then you sort of also see the general trend of people like living with their parents until they're older. That's largely financial, but it's also societal as well, right? Um, and like all these different kind of things. It's kind of like we literally live in an ADHD world where everyone is starting to get like more delayed development, and it's
Well, there's
know.
to Dan's point, the AI is causing an atrophy, right? You know how they say use it or lose it? So
Yeah.
these mental muscles, like maybe multiplication, right? There is a lot of thinking that is tied up with your ability to multiply and divide. And if you don't
Oh, dude,
end up
absolutely.
needing to learn those mechanics, maybe you can't climb certain hills mentally. right? Those knock-on effects.
Yeah, I can't divide for shit. I mean, I can multiply, okay, but can't divide for shit.
Did you ever play a musical instrument growing up?
Yeah, dude, I grew up learning guitar and piano. Like, I
Okay.
can divide in the musical sense, right?
So like, I've done again because this whole creating products for education were born out of me like teaching music and math to kids, and so I started looking up what helps kids or what helps human beings process information, and it's called gray matter. In your brain there is gray matter and there's white matter, and the gray matter allows you to process information in the brain. The studies I've seen have shown that musicians have more gray matter density than non-musicians, people who don't play instruments. So that's
What about
why I
people who
started
speak
with the
more
music.
than one? Yeah, what about people that speak more than one language?
Oh yeah, well I mean, my, Quinn, the comedian. I'm not sure if you met him. Guy I know, my best friend. He is bilingual. He speaks French and English fluently. Like he's been taking French ever since he was in grade 1, right? And so, if you speak multiple languages, you can have God knows how many more thoughts in your mental Overton window.
Yeah, okay, so I speak English and Polish, and all my thoughts are in English. The only time that the Polish side really activates is when I'm speaking to people in Polish. But I was just curious about that because it's like music is almost like another language itself, right? And when you're talking about being able to
Well,
express yourself through a
it's
certain kind
it's
of language.
it's music with a mathematical system underneath,
Yeah.
right? So, I have the steel pen here. So I'm just drawing triangles. So what I'm playing are just basically mathematical equations that I'm making up as I go and changing terms. I'm actually changing
Yeah.
the space between the notes. A mathematical spacing between the notes, right? And then I'm using
Yep.
syncopation to change the rhythm. So
But you do it based on feel, yeah?
no, based on math.
No. What I mean is like, do you do it when you're doing it? Do you do it based on how you feel the ebb and flow of the
Oh yeah.
motions you're putting out?
See, it's interesting. So here's the division. The syncopation or the rhythm is feel. The note selection is mathematical.
That's interesting. Okay, so
Right?
can I ask another question real quick?
Mhm.
When you're doing that, do you think what you want the next note to be in terms of like you're thinking a note or two ahead? And I'm not saying thinking necessarily like active, sort of like just sort of more like you're feeling the direction it wants to go in.
Uh, the first thing I'm trying to think of is establishing a base. So like
Yeah, and then variations.
Space. A time with mountains. The year was 2022. And Web3, he turned into a spider.
yeah. So rhythm is the emotion. The note selection is mathematical. Knowing that you have to set up a bass, like, so you guys have heard of, like, I think it's Moonlight Sonata, and what they do is he plays the first 8 bars the same. Then he changes. Slight change. Radical change. Right? So he sets up the you want to give the person like stable footing mentally and emotionally, right? You know, I think it was Sting that said he complained about modern music and said the problem with modern music is they don't have a bridge. They don't ever break you out of the 16-bar loop.
Yeah, but it does happen. I mean, he's not wrong, but like there's plenty of music out there where it does happen, and some of those are literally the best pieces of work.
Yeah. Yes. So, you know, there's yet an opportunity to make great music if you understand the math. If you understand the math of music, you'll understand how to write a bridge, because the bridge is mathematically related to the verse and the chorus.
See, I just think that, like, from my perspective, it's a little bit different because it's less mathematical thinking, and I mean, it's still mathematical thinking for sure, but it's like more based on feeling and direction and sort of like, okay, I've heard this too long, I want to hear something different, and how do I relate what's just happening to like something different that I want to hear? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of like telling a story. It becomes a language of its own.
I mean, at the same time, I think, like, what could be more mathematical than a Python data science notebook generating AI images, right? Like, you're kind of like you're a hybrid now, right? We're all hybrids in a way.
But what could be more mathematical than, you know, the English language?
Well,
it's literally just like a sum of so many different languages and put together into like this thing that we, you know, we speak and we direct.
Even when I think we're talking in the chat about iambic pentameter, you know, dee-dum, 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 as a natural way of people speaking. So if you encode things with that spacing or that rhythm, they're more likely to hear it. Weird shit. So, Manish, are you here? Oh, yeah, you're here. So, Manish is going to be interviewing basically the guy who's responsible for 70% of the cloud market share for operating system. Have you guys heard of Ubuntu Linux?
Dude, serious?
Ubuntu Linux, the management of its development was led by a guy named Simon Wardley. And Manish is interviewing Simon Wardley tomorrow. Without this guy, we don't have Ubuntu Linux the way we know it today. So Manish messaged me and he says, hey, I want to talk to you about the interview. So I was like, all right. You're interviewing one of the largest unsung heroes on the planet. What the hell do you talk to them about? Manish is the Joe Rogan of IT.
Oh boy, that's a compliment. I am not there yet, but thank you so much for that, Mike. And I think, I'm grateful for having Simon's time talking about the current state of IT and where it should go in my very first episode of the Outcome Minds. So I'm going to record on Zoom and create video as well as audio format of it.
How could you map out the British political scene? You think that'll be too close to home?
The British political scene.
Right.
That's happened with Truss and then now Rishi, you mean?
Yeah.
All the theater that happened recently. I'm sure Simon would have mapped it already. But yeah, it's possible.
I mean, who better to map it out than Simon Wardley?
Yeah.
He's not going to be on TV. They won't put that guy on TV. That guy's too honest. The problem with him is if you ask him a question, he'll give you the answer. and it won't be that long.
Yeah, I'm sure he must have, but I think that's the discussion. I mean, he had put a lot of content on Twitter sharing his point of view about it, but I think it's falling on the deaf ears, maybe. Um, so let's see how
So the first
the.
thing I would say is just know that are you going to be able to film the interview?
Yeah, on the
Okay.
Zoom.
Okay, good. So know that once you have the footage, we can edit it together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because people, 99.9% of people won't hear the full thing. Most people are going to hear 30 seconds and be like, oh, that's interesting. And up 15 seconds. Oh, that's nice. I'm going to retweet this. You're not going to listen to the whole thing. Nobody listens to full lectures anymore.
Yeah, I understand.
It's the
And
TikToking of education.
Yeah, I know. The span of it. I mean, what do you say? The span of attention? No, that's quite less nowadays with all the information bombarding that happens to everyone. I was like, some couple of days I thought about what kind of technology or platform that I can use. But then I figured Zoom is okay, not the best of the quality. It's M4A for audio and MP4 for video, and storing on the cloud would be fine. I mean, being pragmatic, as long as it does its work. So it gave one MP4 and separate M4A files for the participants' audio when I tested it. And I think when we did the commercial for Nora, I'm not sure what I did. When you record.
Actually, this might be an interesting one. Mapping for startups. So, for example, Zach messaged me this morning. You know how you asked me if we achieved our objective with the campaign? So today he messaged me at 10:33 a.m. saying, all right, it's working. Nora just got a contract to clean an entire apartment complex.
Wow, that's so amazing. Congratulations. So happy for him. And for everyone who contributed. I think it's a wonderful feeling that I'm having for it. A whole apartment. I think we were just thinking about the neighborhood, right? Just that next door. Oh boy, that's amazing. Congratulations to everyone.
Yeah. So
of
that
course,
experiment is over.
Yeah, we can go ahead and do some mapping there. I would be very happy to do it.
Here's what I did. I told Christian about it, and I sent him the video. He's like, "Oh man, next time send that to me because I think your hook is your button and your button is your hook, right? If I voice acted you through this, blah blah blah, right?" And so what I did is I had Christian go on Zoom with Zach, right? And so because we already have all the voice actors, right? Now it's like, okay, so if people want commercials, they can get a $10,000 commercial with Christian.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Right?
I would love to do one.
Well, that's the idea, right? We got to figure out a time. Today's Thursday. Are you free? I never want to say tomorrow. All I know is that it's our time Friday at 9 p.m. I think it's your 6 a.m.
Okay.
Friday 9. So when do we typically start Canadian time?
We typically start at 8 p.m.
That is my 5:30.
Yeah, that's super early.
Yeah. So 9 would be 6, isn't it? Okay. Is it? I'm just doing some math, and time zones are freaky.
I like though that we finally have lockdown on like one, one block that works for the world.
We
Well,
have that block
it's
actually,
the thing is, like, that's why I wanted to do it in a short period of time, because it's like there's a lot of places you can go to say, hey, if you work with us over 90 days, if you work with us for 6 months, why don't you sign up for a year? And I'd be like, yo, why don't you just give me like 72 fucking hours? Right? But I still want you to pay me how you were going to pay that person for 6 months, though.
I just saw
Yeah.
the room title, reducing the time between ideation and manifestation. And then and then I tweeted something, so I'm waiting.
Yeah, I like the difference, right? That's manifestation, what you're seeing on the pavement.
Manifestation.
See, it's part of the patriarchy. Amazing. So, Manish, what do you think? Do you have an agenda?
Yeah. I have an intro which I want to reuse for the outcome minds. I have a main session, the guest intro, the guest welcome, which I can record anyway, and the questions to Simon. There are 19 questions that I need to ask him in an hour's time, and then vote of thanks, and then outro. And it's quite, I mean, I tried to use kind of a voice acting script methodology. It's 5 pages here with me. It was like, whoa. And I'm gonna ask him about. So this is related to, I mean, somehow relates to what about outcome based, mindset. And I'm gonna ask him starting from his experience in, I mean, the current state of IT and some of the things he wrote in 2005 about work-based development, and take it from there to the contemporary, situation in IT. So if I may start the intro, and you said within 2 minutes you would either be in or out.
Right now, I'm thinking about the commercial.
Oh.
Right. So, think for a moment that we didn't need to show Nora cleaning to win cleaning business.
Can you say that again?
We didn't need to have footage of Nora cleaning to win her cleaning business. Right? We just had to create a 30-second commercial. Right? And so there's two things. There is recording the full interview. But if we assume that most people are going to watch the sound bites and not the full interview, then what if we created a commercial before the interview that advertised the, the release?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You understand?
Oh, yeah.
So hold on. Let me. I'm on his LinkedIn right now, trying to come up with a slick bio.
I got one in his intro, if I may, while you look it up. Um, and of course, all feedbacks are welcome. So I'm just saying, um, today we have a distinguished guest, Simon Wadley, who is an eminent researcher working currently with DXE Technologies. He's also an inventor of Wadley mapping technique that is used in business strategy by mappers around the world. Simon is well known for his contributions to the IT industry, and one of his significant achievements was to help Canonical increase their market share of their operating system Ubuntu from 3% to 70% on the cloud. Simon also does quite a bit of research in other industries such as defense, manufacturing, agriculture, etc. Welcome to the Outcome Minds, Simon. Simon?
um,
But in commercial, it would be different content. I understand. It's just the intro. I picked this particular case.
okay, so I'm almost done this. Your operating system. So my target are IT folks, right? That's who I'm targeting because those are Wortham's customers.
Yeah.
So this is what I have so far. Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. If you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud Platform, you're probably using Ubuntu Linux as your operating system. During his time as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the cloud operating system market to the dominant operating system in the cloud computing space with over 70% market share. Introducing Simon Warwick.
Yeah.
That's just the first version, but that's what I was thinking as the commercial.
Do you want to be used by Linux, or is it time you used it? Come on down to Shakey's Linux parlor and get Ubuntu into your hoo-hoo.
Hoo-hoo.
I don't know. I just like that voice. That's right. The voice of this voice, the one that takes you all the way downtown. The voice that said, "Hey, how you doing? It's good to see you. Yeah, I like your shoes. Look at my knees."
I think that's wonderful. I think you're going as low as you can.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Sandra.
I got sidetracked by it's a writer, Maria Pavlova writes The Marginalian, and she had this great poem by Sylvia Plath about mushrooms. So, and I know, right? But it's she suffered with depression all her life, and then did not have a good end. But she did some very incredible pieces of work, and mushrooms was one of them. And it was interesting to hear someone else read it. A musician read it, and to me, it's always interesting to listen to how a musician reads something because they do it in a musical lyrical way, and I have not nearly come close to mastering that. Melody will tell you, right? That lyrical way of presenting a piece. So for me, listening to it listening to mushrooms being read by a musician was, I guess, very enlightening in a way, because it's one thing to hear from everybody giving me advice how to do it. It's another thing to actually stumble across something and then listen to it. I guess it has to do with maybe I'm really, in some ways, very protective of myself, and I don't. So when I stumble across something, that resistance isn't there. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I think it helped a great deal. We'll see. But I welcome everybody's advice, because I'm really new at doing voiceovers, but I'd love to do poetry, because I think that would help a great deal for me personally. But that's a whole other thing. Anyway, so how is everybody?
It's funny. When did you said you got stuck on that? Where was that today? This morning?
Today, yeah, like 10 minutes ago. That's why
Like a stream, or just like you opened a.
It was in my feed. I'm like, oh, mushrooms. Let me check
Okay.
it out.
Oh, send it to me. I want to see it.
Yeah,
And
I'll
it's funny that you just said that, because like I went last night to a show. I was in the city, and it was like a KQED. That's like public radio,
Okay.
public stations, and listener supported and all that. So my friend invited me, and it's Dia de los Muertos. So it's the first of its celebration here in San Francisco at the KQED, and it was like poetry, and there was a ceremony. I mean, it's just kind of crazy, because sometimes you're like asking or saying things and like asking the universe for it, and then it just like pops up into like this amazing gift where you're just present and it's there. And it was insanely healing last night.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds amazing.
It was a live stream also. So it was like slam poetry. Yeah, it was super. There was music. I was like one of the only ones in the crowd singing along to one of the songs. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. But yeah, it's you. Okay, I am definitely gonna send it to you so you could practice the non-inflections. I think that's what it
Okay.
is. Non-inflection. How do you say it?
You got it.
Yeah,
Non-inflection.
yeah.
Yeah, I need help with that. I'm terrible at that. I don't. I need help.
The non-inflections. Sounds like a
Non-inflections and
frowny
make it
face.
longer. It's not like a frowning place. It's definitely a more tight jaw, I feel. Yeah.
Trying to find where I put that. All right, I'll get it in a little bit. Mike, what have you been doing? How is life in land wiring hell or heaven, whatever you're calling it?
Oh man. Well, the thing is, like, the more houses there are, the more money there is to be made.
That's why God said He created so many. Right?
Like, if everything was working, they wouldn't need us. I just put a script into the Syndicate chat. So Manish is going to be interviewing the guy who's basically responsible for 70% of cloud operating systems, called Ubuntu Linux, and he's interviewing him tomorrow. So I was saying, hey, we should probably create a commercial. So that's version 2 of the commercial. Manish, you want to give us a read through, and then we can say if it's good, bad, or ugly?
Yes, right away. Just getting my laptop here. And where is it? There it is. Okay, cool. By the way, the first pass of the script looks amazing to me. I think it can go in the intro script. The commercial would follow anyway.
I'm thinking, if you were live at a university and it was your job to introduce Simon Wardley for his fireside chat, what would I say in the first 45 seconds?
Yeah, and that seems to be very apt. And I see you gave a couple of versions. Should I read the second one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud Platform, you're probably using Ubuntu Linux as your operating system. The evolution of Ubuntu Linux would not have been possible without our next speaker, or maybe our guest. Okay. Our next speaker, Simon Wadley. I like the version where you said introducing Simon Wadley in between. But yeah. During Simon's time as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the cloud OS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70% market share. Ubuntu, I'm because you are. Okay, introducing Simon Wadley. Okay, so I think the mention of the name.
Maybe you could put it at the top.
Aha. No. I meant to say the portion in between. The evolution of Ubuntu Linux would not have been possible without this man. Okay. And then you say his time as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the cloud OS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70% market share. Ubuntu, I am because you are. Introducing Simon Wadley. So I wanted to just say the name at the very end so that it becomes a suspense in between. Although it's not very much of it.
That sounds good to me. So let's see. Hold on. So right now we have today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. That's good so far?
Yeah.
Whether you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud Platform, you're probably using Ubuntu Linux as your operating system.
Mm-hmm.
The evolution of Ubuntu Linux would not have been possible without our next guest, Simon Wadley. During Simon's time as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the cloud OS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70% market share. Ubuntu, I am because you are. Introducing Simon Wadley.
I like that.
Yeah.
I am because you are. Tasty.
Mm-hmm.
That's the translation. It's a Zulu word.
good.
What do you think, Manish? What do we have to change?
Yeah. Can you put that script up?
Okay, one sec.
Do we have to say Linux, by the way? For ID folks, Ubuntu
Let's see here.
is in.
All right, so I sent you it.
Yep. So it says whether you're using. Okay. Without our next speaker. So you would want to mention the name.
Oh, sorry, of our next guest. Do we know the name of the show? The Wortham podcast?
No, the outcome minds.
The outcome.
That's a great name.
Yeah, thank you so much.
The outcome mind. I like it.
Yeah.
How do you say canacolio?
Canonical. Or canonical, I think.
Canonical
Canonical.
Yeah.
Ubuntu.
Sorry, let me put some punctuation here. So today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. So that will be 3 lines. Whether you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud Platform, you're probably using Ubuntu Linux as your operating system. All right, so punctuation. The evolution of Ubuntu Linux would not have been possible, new line, without our next guest on the Outcome Minds podcast. Is that what it's called? The Outcome Minds show? I don't know.
Yeah, the outcome minds would be enough. I mean,
Okay.
without our next guest on the outcome minds. Or you can say episode of outcome minds, but I'm not sure.
Tenure instead of time. Let's heighten the speech. You know, that's an ascot to this fucking script.
Yeah, tenure. So it's 2 syllables.
Oh,
Okay.
tenure. Oh, look at me. Oh, it sounds like academia.
Yeah, during
Sounds.
his tenure. Okay.
All right, so I pasted it. And what would be interesting is if we had a woman's voice, because they already, you know what I mean? Like, I bet if you go to a lot of these conferences, it's not a lot of women talking, and that's not because they shouldn't be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because they got fucking locked out.
We have to bake cookies and snickerdoodles.
Exactly. Right.
That's the only way we get in. You know, I have to have my hand up with the, with the beer on one side and the sandwiches and cookies on the other. Anyway, Melody, how about Melody read it?
Yeah, I would love to hear Melody do it. Anyone?
Yeah. Melody. Yes, Christians.
Not to be completely reality based, but I'm pretty sure that there's nobody who expresses the opinions that Melody has at a lot of these mapping conferences. Just throwing that out there.
Melody, are you there? I can read it. I just wanted to hear Melody first. It's up to all of you, of course.
She must be joining.
What's that?
Sorry. No, I think she switched her device.
Okay, would you like me to give it a whirl?
Yes,
okay,
sure.
I'm sorry. It's Ubuntu, right?
That's right.
Okay, making sure. Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud Platform, you're probably using Ubuntu Linux as your operating system. The evolution of Ubuntu Linux would not have been possible without our next guest on the Outcomes Minds, Simon Wardley. During Simon's tenure as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the cloud OS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70% market share. Ubuntu, I am because you are. Introducing Simon Wardley.
Wow. I liked where it ended up. Like when you hit the Ubuntu, I am because you are. Yeah.
Cool. What can I do better on now?
I find that reading it 20 times is like how I find it.
Gotcha.
because I'm always trying to remove things from my voice
Right. Oh, I
rather
didn't.
than add things.
Right. I didn't flat read that at all. I just.
Mm. I maybe it's a personal preference, but I actually like the. I would rather have less emotion than more, but I don't know if that's just a personal preference. You know,
Right. Right.
or you could choose casual, like today Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud Platform, probably using Ubuntu Linux as your operating system. And the evolution of Ubuntu Linux wouldn't have been possible without our next guest on the Outcome Mind, Simon Wardley. During his tenure as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the Cloud OS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70% market share. So without further ado, Ubuntu, I am because you are. Introducing Simon Wardley. Right? So I would do 20 of those just to see
Yeah.
what I like. Just one
Sounds
after another.
cool.
And also it just helps get your, the pacing. I don't want to be thinking when I'm doing my takes, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. Right.
I just want to be performing.
Gotcha. So try casual and the pacing on it while I'm doing that.
Not necessarily. I'm just saying, like, of the choices, you could say, you know what? I did it broadcast or mentor there. Do I want it to stay there? Or do I think I can get more of the audience's attention by using a different character or tone? Because I remember I was doing, I was going to do a cybersecurity documentary. And so it was featuring women in cybersecurity. And I looked at, like, I went to YouTube and I typed in women in cybersecurity and I saw the videos and I'm like, wow, these are really well produced videos and nobody cares. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, wow, like, I don't have the camera people and let alone the video editing skills to do something like this. But then again, what they've created here, although it's beautiful and informative, nobody's really paying attention. So it's like a tree falling in the woods with nobody there to listen. So,
that's the part I never get.
mhm.
There's so much great material out there, and it's
Oh
just
yeah,
some of it hits, but most of it doesn't. And I guess that's what I we want to tinker with, like the whys, and I'm sure there's like libraries full of that.
it's if they're not paying attention, you're not saying anything.
Right.
Right, ostensibly. So instead of doing like a 5-minute thing, I did a 30-second thing. And actually, I called it Lonely because I would interview the women in cybersecurity. I'm like, hey, so by the way, what is it what is it like being a woman in cybersecurity? And they all said lonely. They said they walk into a room and there's 20 dudes staring back at them. And they're like, all right, let's begin. Right? But they're like, this was like a partner of like one of the big four for cybersecurity, somebody else at university, somebody else in cryptography from the BlackBerry days. Like, they'd cut their teeth. They'd put in their time. So.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah. So it's also you can create really informative stuff that nobody gives a shit about.
Oh yeah.
And believe me, I've created enough quasi-informative stuff that nobody gives a shit about to be like, okay, hold on. Before we create an hour of this content, can we create 15 seconds that people give a shit about? And that's easy. That's harder than it sounds.
Well, let me ask you this: is it a matter of being viral or being critical people's favorite? You know what I mean? Like, is it better to be a favorite of critically important people, or is it better to be viral?
I think my experience in sales is that if you have a problem that you're solving, you just have to get in touch with those people for whom that problem makes them a lot of money or saves them a lot of money. Right? And so, for example, like, I don't know, how many followers do I have? I have 2,300 followers. right?
Mhm.
And to be honest with you, I don't necessarily think I need 100,000 followers to do what I want. I don't think I need 10,000. I think I'm doing it right now, right? So I think it's a function of like what you want to get done.
Right.
You know, I think we saw with Zach that if someone's like really hyper focused on something, you know, and can do the sales themselves, you know, the missing piece to a lot of the startup stuff is that the founder has to be the number one salesperson.
Right.
And that's, you know, not necessarily that comfortable for people. But I'm
Right.
pretty sure Zach was a part of that conversation, right? I'm pretty sure. I have a
Oh yeah.
feeling. I could be wrong, right? But we forget about the founder's role in being the number one salesperson in the company.
Well, I mean, if you don't believe in your product and you can't sell it, then why are you even here, right?
What? And typically you're selling your product to your co-founder, right? Or to
Yeah.
your VP of sales because you're trying to convince them to drop their $250,000 package for something else if it's in software, right? Not an easy thing to do,
True.
right? These people have the golden handcuffs on.
There's Melody.
Oh, there we go.
I will read that. I'm interested
Yeah.
in doing it for Manish if he's interested.
I like the
Of
I like the
course.
practice of it. You know, to get to
Oh, I
that
think
point where you're not trying to do it, right? But just doing it as yourself.
yes.
I would rather have them hear your voice than say no to a character. But that's a personal thing. You know what I mean? I guess because in marketing, like, I find everything is so fake, right? And we know it's fake, which makes it worse. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand.
Like, we all kind of like are jaded. And so how do you get through to someone who's jaded? Well, I don't care what you're using. AWS, Azure, GCP, I don't care. You're using Ubuntu Linux. Not sure? Take me to your systems engineer. Let me ask him. You probably never heard of this shit, but it's the root of your entire company. And by the way, I'm talking to the guy who basically stewarded its evolution. The guy who created Wardley mapping, Simon Wardley, you know?
That is a face
Not,
for the ears.
yeah, I'm not going to tell you what he's going to do. I'm telling you what he's done. And you can either turn it off or turn it up.
I get it. I get what you're saying, and I'll
It's
take
just
it.
one perspective, right?
Well,
No,
it's
that's
important. It's important. I mean, I think sincerity is really important, whether you're buying, cookies at the store or a brand new car or something bigger, a concept, a dream, something, a critical, the hinge of fate to humanity, if you want to get that dramatic about it. But, if someone, imagine doing that in like a casual surfer, it would just not, it wouldn't be sincere really, so I guess I think I understand what you're saying to me in terms of representing yourself through the commercial, but yeah, I think I get it.
yeah. I wonder if sincere sounds different in different voices. You know, I wonder
My
because
gut tells me yeah. I mean, my gut tells me yes, and
we have these, like, our genetics are baked into our mouths. You know,
yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
it's interesting.
I know where I personally feel most comfortable coming from, kind of an authoritative teacher, naughty, naughty, you naughty boy. I mean, the lower tones are more comfortable for me, but I talk higher when I'm recording something, which to me is kind of
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, and that's why I purposefully try to read almost like a sociopath because I'm trying to flush my system of the inflection, even now. So we just got the script. Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud Platform, doesn't matter. You're probably using Ubuntu Linux as your operating system. The evolution of Ubuntu Linux would not have been possible without our next guest on the Outcome Minds. During Simon's tenure as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the Cloud OS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70% market share. Ubuntu. I am because you are. Introducing the eminent researcher, the strategist who invented wordly mapping, a technique used to develop business strategy, the one and only Simon Wardley.
Ooh.
I always want to do a read on this.
Yeah, do it.
That was tasty
Again,
conviction on that one.
All right.
There's a difference. I remember the best set I ever did as a comedian. I hated, even though people were laughing, because I was so focused on people laughing that I didn't enjoy myself. And I said, you know what? If I ever have a chance to do stand up again, I'm gonna do it for myself, not for them.
I'm going to jump right in and be like, I double dog dare you to do that. I double dog dare you. Go get a sponsor. I'll be your opening act, so that way I'm so horrible you look like the most fucking amazing thing since the beginning of time. And then you can just enjoy yourself, because the whole time you just be like, wow, Sandy did such a shit job that I'm laughing at how badly she did. And I'm just gonna have a great time, because I can't blow myself up the way she did. There's no way it's gonna happen.
What you're describing is the core of Ubuntu, which is I am because you are.
Now that is hilarious. That is really funny.
The Zulus, they knew a thing or two.
I had a good Bitcoin node joke today, and I didn't get a chance to say it, so I'm going to say it here.
Oh, wicked.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, so it's kind of like a dad joke, so bear with me. All right, so why should everybody run a Bitcoin node? Why? Because of cache invalidation.
Oh, nice. CACHE. I like it.
Cache. Isn't it great?
I had to make that leap. I like it. You should post that.
It's pretty bad, but it's
I'm trying to write a book of them. Like, what is a Florida man's favorite drink before he plays a game?
Gosh, I don't know.
Gatorade.
Oh no, that's hilarious. Why did I think of that? That's great. I love it. That's awesome.
I think I told that to Web3.
That's wonderful. I can see it. You know why? Because I'm visualizing that guy from Florida that was dancing with the gator. That's great. I like that one a lot. So yeah, that's my new stand-up. I'm gonna go and just for 5 minutes talk about Bitcoin nodes and dad jokes. So that'll warm them up for you. What do you think?
I think if you could find the allegory of how the Bitcoin system works with real life. I remember it was Guy Metzger. He's a comedian. And he had a joke about the economy. And he says, you ever been playing Monopoly with your family? And you ever be put in charge of the bank? Have you ever not stolen from the bank? Of course you stole from the bank. You know, sometimes you get a little behind on Ventnor Avenue, Baltic Road's not performing as well. You know, you take some money from the bank. So let me ask you this. If you're willing to cheat on your own family in a made-up game, what makes you think you would be a benevolent banker?
Deep thoughts. Dun, 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 dun. And for the record, when I played Monopoly, I never stole. But my sister by then had stolen everything anyway, so it didn't matter. No,
I have this new interview strategy where instead of your first interviewing being with an employee of the company, you interview with the office dog or cat. And if the thing starts scratching you or barking at you, you're not hired.
But isn't that a good indicator? Like if you leave somebody alone in a room for like a half hour with an annoying animal, how, like, what do they do? You know, do they ignore
I
it?
think that's a good test.
Yeah, you know what? One of my former employers used, he would, if he was thinking about promoting somebody, he would first of all, he would force everybody to have a plant, a real live breathing plant. And how that employee handled the plant was important to him. If it was alive and happy, he was like, okay, this person gives a shit. If it was like dying and forgotten and just, like a husk, he worried. Like he was like, should I give this person an important like manager position where they're responsible for 60 people? How are they going to handle that? I mean, and I know it's a weird way to look at the world, but most of the time there's this weird correlation. Anyway, maybe it was just him. I don't know.
All right, Manisha, what do you think? Think the commercial's done?
Yeah. Melon Beans is not there. And I think when I just played a little bit with the script. I thought that the name would come at the end, and it looked really, really good.
Yeah, again, think about Nora, right? We didn't get it perfect. We got it done.
Yeah.
And if we decided to wait 5 days before doing the work, none of it would have happened. I'd rather put out something imperfect today with the right intent than something perfect never, because perfect never comes along. Trust me.
Yeah.
Hey, so can I just chime in on this script a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a bit of a reading on it, like just in the background here, and one thing that not bothers me, but just sort of comes off as unnatural is calling it Ubuntu Linux over and over again. Like I just call it Ubuntu. That's how I know it. That's how most people know it.
Oh, nice. Good
So
point.
for me, right, like when I'm reading this, it sounds more natural if I go, hold up. Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether using Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure, or even Google Cloud Platform, you're probably using Ubuntu as your operating system. The evolution of Ubuntu would not have been possible without our next guest on The Outcome Minds. During his tenure as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose. And see, there you already just used Ubuntu. But repeating Ubuntu Linux and then Ubuntu Linux and then Ubuntu Linux again, it just feels a bit unnatural. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just kind of my take there.
I just implemented the change. I pushed the change to production and I put it in the chat. Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere, whether you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud. You're probably using Ubuntu as your operating system. The evolution of Ubuntu would not have been possible without our next guest on The Outcome Minds, Simon Wardley. During Simon's tenure as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the cloud OS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70% market share. Ubuntu. I am because you are. Introducing Simon Wardley.
And that's the take.
Kind of makes me want to do that one piece like, come on down, Simon Worley. You're the next guest on Let's Do It America. That's right. We're going to be meeting with them Ubuntu's greatest inventor and possibly greatest user. Well, sorry. I didn't mean to ruin that.
No, I like the carnival. Dan, can you do it as the Sinister? Like today. You know, like the smoking man from fucking the narrative smoking man from X-Files.
I knew what they wanted. Simon. Ubuntu. I've heard it all before. AWS had paid me off handsomely, and now I had to drag their name in the dirt as well. But Simon had the game up. He had one thing on me. Pictures of me using an old IBM PC Junior. I was framed. For how long, I wasn't sure. I went back in. I knew Atari ST wouldn't take me in, but Amiga and Commodore had so much dirt under their nails they didn't care. I groveled in, playing offered an Atari ST, 1040 SD, extended memory. They pushed me back and told me and warned me about some guy in the future that had hobbit-like hands and paws and supposedly was a carpenter artist. I said, I don't buy that shit anymore. I put the moonshine down. I said, look, you either give me the diamonds or I'll take the whales today.
That's the take.
That was the take right there, everybody. And action.
Yeah, I think we should A and B test it.
Today, Ubuntu is everywhere. Whether you're using
I love the whale part, Dan. That was just chef's kiss.
It was mostly random, Sandra. I didn't know what to say. I was
I know.
fucked in the corner. I was
But
perplexed by
that made me
Ubuntu and thinking all about how KC would be telling me more about yet more mortgage rates up and down. Couldn't decide whether or not he wanted to live or die.
Oh, shit, I would love to hear Casey read it, actually.
My
Here, I'll clear
computer
his
wants
throat
to
for
read
him.
it.
Oh, let's hear the computer.
Today, Ubuntu is everywhere. Whether you're using Amazon AWS, or Microsoft Azure, or even Google Cloud Platform, you're probably using Ubuntu as your operating system. The evolution of Ubuntu Linux would not have been possible without our next speaker, Simon Wardley. During Simon's time as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the Cloud OS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70% market share. Ubuntu, I am because you are. Introducing Simon Wardley.
Its
She
rhythm
tried.
and timing is so strange.
The mathematical equations were off a little bit. That's what you would say. That's also.
Right now, I'm trying to use.
I am because you are.
It's almost like maybe it just figured out Christopher Walken, though.
Ooh.
Let's see if this works.
Today, Ubuntu is everywhere. Whether you're using Amazon or Microsoft.
Oh my god. I see what it did. So what it did is it gave it
What is that?
it gave it the voice of True Crime New York City, a senior male Asian voice. What?
Fun.
Who is? It's
Google Cloud. You're probably using Ubuntu as your operating system. The evolution of
this is so racist.
Ubuntu will not have been possible without a Microsoft. There comes maintenance.
I kind of love it.
That's the most racist thing I've ever heard in my life.
That's the speaker for Syndicate right there. We gotta change the script up, but that guy.
Guys, uberduck.ai. I talked to Web3 about this to get the... So Twitch streamers. Who else can I use? University of Nottingham. That sounds about right.
Yeah, out of the using that site, out of the 10 that you're allowed free, probably got 3 that actually sounded good. A lot of them would kind of do this. They would go, yeah, and then do a word, that kind of thing.
So I got the Scottish dude.
System, the evolution of Ubuntu would not have been possible without our next guest on the Outcomes Minds, Simon Wordley, during Simon's tenure as the cloud at
Vaput instead of VP. Thanks, AI. I wonder if I can find like a rapper or something.
You said that was
YouTubers.
British, right?
Try a feminine voice
Okay.
with a British
Lion.
accent.
I don't know. Okay, so let's try the Flintstones. Fred Flintstone. It's because I don't know pop things. I don't know what would be a woman. Does that make sense? Like all of these things are kind of lost on me. Hold on. Did I see South Park? Peppa Pig. Politicians. Okay, hold on, hold on. Barack Obama. Let's see what Barack Obama would sound like. I wonder if they have Michelle.
Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere, whether you're using Amazon Oz.
No, it's terrible.
Amaznos.
Amazon. Okay.
Amaznos.
What about Bill Clinton? Amazon.
Can you do A.W.S and see if that
Yeah.
they say
Mhm.
AWS? Yeah.
I'm just surprised that I can do this at the click. All right, so let's see.
Today, Ubuntu Linux, whether you were using Amazon Oz or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud, you were probably using Ubuntu as your operating system. The evolution of Ubuntu would not have been possible without our next guest on the Outcomes Minds. Simon Wardley, during Simon's tenure as the cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the CloudOS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70 market share. Ubuntu, because you are introducing Simon Wardley.
So what I realize is it's because I have it on separate lines. So let me delete these lines. What do you think about Bill Clinton?
It sounds like
Pretty
him.
good.
Not bad.
Let's get in there.
It's
right?
really interesting how monotone it is. So like there's like one inflection. I mean, repetitive. This is interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
If you
interesting
put
that the
commas,
speech would be solved, but not the rhythm.
yeah. Can you put commas
Yeah.
at the end of every line so that it actually pauses instead of just going straight on to the next thing that's going
Yes.
to say? That would probably help the cause, because otherwise it just carries on and keeps going and going and going.
All right, so let's try it with it written in paragraph form instead of poetic prose. Fancy words, heightened language. All right, let's try it again.
Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you were using Amazon Oz or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud, you were probably using Ubuntu as your operating system. The evolution of Ubuntu would not have been possible without our next guest on the Outcomes Minds, Simon Wardley. During Simon's tenure as the cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose.
Of cloud. It doesn't want to say. I'm gonna have to spell it like a word. A double U S. Okay,
No,
let me
I
try.
think spaces between the letters would probably work.
Yeah, or did you do
Or
the
spaces. Yeah, spaces would work.
Let's see. It could be right.
Did you do the periods though? Did you try period?
Well, I'm trying AWS, so like AYYE, and then double U, like double the spelled out, and S. Let's see.
Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you were using Amazon AWS or
See, it works.
What?
You didn't spell it phonetically.
Phonetic. Bill Clinton knows how to spell phonetically.
Okay, so that's Bill Clinton. I wonder if they have fucking what's his name? I am not a crook. Yes, of course you do. Synthesize.
Nixon, yes.
Right? I am not Ubuntu. All right, hold on. I wonder how many credits I get. All right.
Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere, whether you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud. You're probably using Ubuntu as your operating system.
This is scary, dude.
That's
If
pretty
I
cool.
spell these things out phonetically, it's going to give me a pretty cool voiceover. But just knowing how to use this stuff. Oh man, I got to message the founder again. But this is
The
good.
evolution of Ubuntu would not have been possible without our next ghost on the Outcomes Minds, Simon Wardley. During Simmons' tenure as the cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the CloudOS.
Yeah, I have to see the words. I think the language model is.
I think
It sounds like our
how
caption.
do full, yeah. How do full stops go for like creating pauses?
I'm trying. Okay, Caitlin. I'm doing Pokemon. I don't know what Caitlin is. Never seen Pokemon. Let's see.
Is that Caitlyn Jenner?
No.
Let's see.
Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you're using a
Oh, I feel like a racist when I use other accents. It's like I shouldn't be able to do that.
Can you
Call
pull
of
up
Duty.
Mario?
Let me see. There's a lot in here actually. And amazing,
Pretty
like
wild.
it's like they took video games. Like, hold on. LA Noir? What do you mean you have LA Noir? You guys know that video game? It was
Yeah, dude.
interactive who done it, and you would have to
One of the
like pick
best of
up
all time.
clues. Yeah, it was really groundbreaking when it came out. All right. Let's see this. Cole Phelps.
Imagine.
Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you're using Amazon AWS.
No, that did not come out good. So you're
You
looking
sound
for
like
Mario,
Dan
right?
on
Oh,
one.
shut your mouth. Don't tell me I have Bobby Hill from King of the Hill.
Probably.
All right, synthesizing Bobby Hill. I wonder if I can get Peggy.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
Spatial has completed their integration of Sketchfab, and now you can just download straight from Sketchfab while in Spatial.
Sick.
Yeah.
What? Wait,
Yeah.
did
There's like,
you?
I'm
Okay,
going.
I'm gonna go in.
There's like so much. There's
Did you
so
load any?
dude. There's so many. I know a couple, but I'm just like.
I'm gonna go in there right now.
Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you're using
Ugh, Bobby sucks. What about Hank? No, you have Dale Gribble? Shut your mouth. There's not Dale Gribble.
Who's that?
He was the guy who didn't speak any English, but he was. Remember that guy?
Over
No.
there,
Right?
man. Go get that. Go get drunk. You know what I mean?
From where?
Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you're
Oh no, that's Dale. Hold on, I'm looking for Boomhauer, right? Hank, Cotton. Where's Mario? Zelda? No Mario. Green M&M. You could do the M&Ms?
Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere, whether you're using Amazon AWS.
It sounds drunk. Lay off the sauce, Mrs. Green. Well, that's where we are today. So, Manish, what do you think?
That's quite enlightening.
You think we have the commercial? Oh, Mel, you're back. Can you hold on? What's it called? The outcome mines. Oops, I have to change one thing. All right. So let me send you this script. Bang, 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 bang. All right, you got it.
I'm actually sending you a request right now to follow on LinkedIn. I just found you.
Oh, nice.
It kind of popped up somewhere, and then it was like, oh, that is him. That's funny how everything is connected. Like you were offered to me.
Let's see. Nothing yet. See it.
Now you're allowing. Now you're following. Nobody knows. Oh, so let me go get my microphone headset.
Good idea. You know it's serious when you connect on LinkedIn.
I changed the script a little bit because I wanted to have the name worldly mapping in his introduction because my questions would come. I mean, one of the question touches upon it, like introducing Simon Wadley. Before that, I wrote some and other aspects of his personality. Do you think it would be too long?
I like.
So a synopsis of him.
I like to keep the intro short, sweet, and impactful.
Okay, gotcha.
Does that make sense? Because I always ask myself, how many people have stopped listening because of the way I introduce this? Right?
Gotcha.
Right? And if I think that if you look at the actual numbers, 98% of people are not going to listen to past today.
Yeah.
Really,
Another
if you look at the
question
numbers.
I have, yeah, it makes sense. Another question I have is in the middle, you have used the name already, and do you think we can, for example, the evolution of Ubuntu would not have been possible without our next guest on the Outcome Minds during his tenure? So would we?
I just sent you a DM. So what I did, we're doing version control now because I have a version. Gonna need SVN and Git soon.
Okay, gotcha.
Do we want to merge that punctuation change?
There's a conflict.
Yeah, it's British American and the Oxford comma. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. I think this is good. So let us go with it.
All right. So Melody's setting up her microphone. Today, Ubuntu Linux is everywhere. Whether you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud, you're probably using Ubuntu as your operating system. The evolution of Ubuntu would not have been possible without our next guest on the Outcome Minds, Simon Wardley. During Simon's tenure as the VP of Cloud at Canonical, Ubuntu rose from being a minor player in the Cloud OS market to the dominant operating system in cloud computing with 70% market share. Ubuntu, I am because you are. Introducing Simon Wardley. That's the script we're working with right now.
And I noticed when you said without our next guest.
You heard that, right?
Outcome, yeah. So
if you start,
took up the pause.
if you hold back the emotion, it gives you the room to use emotion more effectively later on. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
right. So it makes the emotion that you add later on that much more impactful because you're starting flat.
Okay. So to confirm, the latest script that you put it on the Syndicate chat is the latest one. Yeah. Okay. Let's get it rolling. Melby's the co-host.
I think I'm gonna have to disconnect and connect through my. Can you release me? And I'm gonna get on my computer because it's on my computer, not on my.
while we're waiting, I wanted to go look at Casey's what's wrong with me? Open Seas. If I go to his Imagination account, does he have a link there? I haven't really had a chance to look at people's NFTs.
Actually,
Anybody know?
sorry. Actually, we did it through Zoom last time. That's how I was on my computer, and my microphone's only on my computer.
You want to do is like a quick Zoom, anybody, and then Melody can. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, let's wait for Mike. Manish, do you want to throw one?
No, I think you're sounding so good. But yeah, if you wish
Yeah, no,
to
I'm
get,
gonna use the microphone.
oh yeah, so we can go ahead on the Zoom for some time. Sure.
I mean, we can keep this one open, or we can close.
No, we can close this. Yeah, if you send a Zoom in the chat, Manish, you can record it.
Yeah, I'm gonna set up Zoom right away.
Today, I'm gonna get the dongle. See if I can find the dongle to put it on my phone. That means I'm kind of understanding more.
All right, I'm gonna warm up a cup of coffee. I'll see you on the Zoom side from the chat.
I'll see you there.
All right.
Okay.
All right.